Tonight, people from Musgrave Harbour are finally headed home, but the battle against the wildfire continues. We'll have that story and...
After a shooting put a St. John's neighborhood in lockdown yesterday afternoon, police are now investigating a homicide and have a suspect in custody. I'll have that story coming up.
We have a $20 million problem that we have to deal with.
And when one person gets pulled out, everyone else is just subsumed by it. So morale is very low.
Staff and programming cuts announced at Memorial University aren't sitting well with professors.
I'm Colleen Connors at the Corner Brook Pulp and Paper Mill that turns 100 this summer.
Mill began operation in 1925. Many decades of hard work and dedication by employees.
Big changes are coming to keep this place afloat. Kruger is investing $700 million in changing the way they process paper and creating their own power. I'll break it all down for you. That's later.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Peter Cowan. Well, the RNC says a homicide investigation is underway after a man was found dead yesterday in St. John's. Here Now's Abby Cole has more.
It started here on Salter Place in St. John's Thursday afternoon. Police responded to reports of a shooting and found 30-year-old Terry Griffin dead. His injuries were consistent with a gunshot wound. A shelter-in-place order was issued for residents as tactical police, canines, and drones searched the neighborhood. Police say Griffin was pronounced dead inside his home, and now a homicide investigation is ongoing.
It was determined in the early stages of the response that this event was targeted, and the suspect was believed to be in the area of Grossmorn Place. Shortly after 11:15 a.m., a residence on Grossmorn Place was contained by responding officers.
Police say a 48-year-old man is in custody in connection to the homicide, but he has not been charged related to that incident. Instead, he's being held on charges related to a previous incident where Terry Griffin was also a victim.
The man believed to be connected to the death of Griffin was taken into custody just before 12:30 p.m. That 48-year-old man was held in custody in relation to charges of uttering threats and assault with a weapon, which is connected to a separate event that's historical in nature.
The shooting remains under investigation, and Constable James Cadigan says the shelter-in-place order was crucial for police.
There's police dog service trying to get a track. So, along with public safety as our priority, by issuing a shelter-in-place, it's actually promoting our ability to investigate without impediment and to limit the amount of activity around these officers as they conduct their work.
Police are now asking for security camera footage and any information from the public as they continue their investigation. Abby Cole, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, some staff and programs at Memorial University have found themselves on the chopping block this week, months after MUN announced its multi-million-dollar deficit. The CBC's Jenna Head reports.
Bad things are coming. That was the feeling among Memorial University's Faculty Association when the university announced a hiring freeze and budget deficit in December.
Like many universities across the country, Memorial University is facing the challenges of constrained budgets, lower international enrollment, and increasing fixed costs.
Since MUN can't carry a deficit, it's been looking at ways to reduce costs.
We have a $20 million problem that we have to deal with.
Yesterday, the Faculty Association's fears arrived at the door. 20 staff members were let go. The Harris Center was axed. The Center for Public Engagement in the St. John's campus was closed. And the Writing Center is to merge with the Center of Innovation in Teaching and Learning.
Portfolio leaders were looking at ways of reducing their costs that minimized impacts to the student experience.
But MUNFA says yesterday's cuts are only a fraction of the university's losses, and students will be impacted.
Department heads reached out to instructors earlier in the year and said, which courses would you like to teach? You can start getting ready for those courses, and this is what happens every year.
So professors started preparing their course materials, expecting the formal contract to come closer to the fall, but now those positions aren't being filled.
They could have applied for other jobs in the meantime if they didn't have a job offer here.
Other teaching contracts will continue for now, but aren't guaranteed to be renewed.
We think, humane ways of approaching that is to let contracts come to an end and not renew them, or to reduce some of that. Not to fire people, but to allow their contracts to play out.
In the meantime, Munfa says the university is adding to its senior leadership with maximum salaries.
They're adding a new VP position, and with each VP position, it's not just that person, which, as you mentioned, is being hired at the top of the salary scale, brought in from the outside without a job search. So this is all done without the proper procedures. But then each of those people also has a set of staff that supports their office, and so it's a huge expense.
Mershwad says those expenses are not student-centered, and while MUN maintains that the next president, Dr. Janet Morrison, will review senior leadership within her first 6 months in office, the Faculty Association says staff morale is already tanking. Jenna Head, CBC News, St. John's.
Newfoundland and Labrador's largest hospital has a new morgue facility. That facility has come under fire for not having enough room, forcing some bodies to be stored in freezers in a parking lot. Elizabeth Whitten takes us inside the new facility.
This is the inside of a hallway tucked inside the Janeway Children's Hospital parking garage. These gleaming metal doors are freezer and cooler units that store human remains for the Provincial Health Authority and Office of the Chief Medical Officer. Behind the doors, they can now hold 96 bodies. The original morgue in the Health Sciences Centre, built in the 1970s, could only hold 12. Last year, CBC News reported dozens of unclaimed remains were being stored in an alley behind the hospital. A few months later, they were then moved here, into these units in the Janeway's parking lot. Ron Johnson, COO of the Health Authority's Eastern Urban Zone, says this expanded facility is important, and there is also an element of public perception at play.
We wanted to ensure that, that people's bodies and families and others were dealt with in a very professional way, in a very caring way, an empathetic way.
Johnson says this new facility does just that. Project manager Daniel Parsons says the new morgue was part of the overall lab modernization process that's currently underway.
And it's not surprising, given the population change, why we've grown significantly from 12, which was originally constructed in 1970, to our current capacity of 96.
Parsons says the lab has been struggling with capacity problems in recent years, which isn't unique to this province. Corey Murray, Senior Director of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine, says the new space is ergonomic and safer for staff in the space.
The older space, again, was very confined. We had a very limited capacity, so it was difficult at times to be retrieving a decedent, either for the funeral home or for autopsy services.
Between the new legislation that empowers the health authority to bury unclaimed remains and the new facility, Johnson says he doesn't expect an overflow of bodies to be a problem again. Elizabeth Whitten, CBC News, St. John's.
The Innu Nation says it's not opposed to Hydro-Quebec continuing environmental surveying at Gull Island this summer, as long as it doesn't disrupt the site of their annual gathering. This comes in the wake of protests by some within the Innu community, which caused Hydro to put their work on pause. The Innu Nation says it's met with Hydro-Quebec's newly appointed CEO, Claudine Bouchard, yesterday. They say Hydro-Quebec will not be constructing a camp at Gull Island, and there will be no road traffic into the area. It also says Hydro-Quebec has agreed to hire 2 Innu land guardians to monitor how the work at Gull Island is being carried out.
It's a preliminary work to get the project online, to be on time. That's why we agreed to get them to agree with the startup. They won't start on Monday. Using helicopters to get to the site. There'll be minimal disruption to the gathering site. There won't be any trucks going through the site.
The Brook pulp and paper mill started operation in 1925. This summer, the new owners, Kruger, are celebrating the 100th anniversary by opening the doors to the public and announcing a $700 million plan for the future. Here now's Colleen Connors was there.
The Brook Pulp and Paper Mill. It was called Bowaters back then. The plan started in 1922. Brook was just a small inlet with a sawmill. This industrial giant cost $45 million at the time, starting operation in 1925.
The largest construction project in the world at that point. Actually, the mill itself, but also the community was part of the whole project. So it's exciting now to open the doors, have people come in, see the operation, and as we get ready to embark upon the next phase of our future.
Say hi! Decades and decades of dedicated employees keeping this paper mill going. And hundreds turned up today to take a tour inside the paper-making facility.
Well, I've been living here in Brook my whole life, born and raised, and never been inside the mill. And 100 years in operation is pretty amazing. So I thought, well, if they're offering a tour, I'd like to do it.
With 400 employees, many of the visitors have a strong connection to the place. A father or brother who works here. It's the only mill in the province. But it's seen rocky times with the global demand for newsprint dwindling. Kruger, who owns it, has a power purchase agreement with the province to help stabilize the mill during this difficult time for the industry. 11 years ago, Kruger signed a $110 million loan with the province and has been slow to pay it back. But according to Pelly, Kruger has big plans to invest $700 million to switch things up here and make this place financially strong for the long term.
This will really change everything from our forest operations all the way through to our paper making. Our forest operations will be modernized, changed in focus to a priority on lumber production, which supports our sawmill partners, allows sawmill growth in the province, which is certainly great for the province, and that will certainly make us much more financially strong. We're going to leverage our advantages.
Kruger will convert the operation here to lumber first, providing it to the sawmills in the province. The mill will be 100% chip supply, with piles of chips in the woodyard instead of logs. This change brings new equipment, training, but a promise of long-time employment. Even a wind farm is coming to supply the mill with power, all out of Kruger's pocket.
This will put us in a position to obviously repay back the original loan, but also financing of the current project that we have. So it puts us in a much stronger position than we have been.
The Brook Mill currently operates 2 paper machines. Today, crews monitor this paper-making machine that's turning pulp into huge rolls of paper in 40-degree heat. The big changes to chip instead of lumber, plus the new sources of power, are still yet to come. Environmental assessments need to happen, and they have to decide the best place for a wind farm, possibly on land where lumber has been harvested twice, almost 3 times. Pelly says it will take years, up to 3 years, before these major changes in how this place operates will take place. And today is really about celebrating 100 years of the mill and the reason this city even exists. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Brook.
The Churchill Park Music Festival is kicking off in St. John's tonight. British rock band Def Leppard is the big act tonight, well known for their hits like Pour Some Sugar on Me. They're set to take the stage just before 9:30. Country star and judge on The Voice, Blake Shelton, takes the stage tomorrow night, followed by his wife and global pop sensation Gwen Stefani on Sunday. The festival takes a rest day on Monday, but then returns on Tuesday with American rock band The Killers. This is the 4th year for the festival, which has previously hosted Shania Twain, Alanis Morissette, and the Lumineers.
And if you're heading to the show tonight, take a rain jacket just in case. We do have a chance of showers in St. John's. Rain is the story of the night. We've got a rainfall warning for the southwest coast where they could see 40 to 50 millimeters of rain. And we're also already picking that up on the satellite radar. And you can see it when you check the road cam. So we could have some pooling. We could have some localized flooding with all of that water coming down from the sky. Good for the forest fires in this province, of course, as well. So tonight, we've got the heavy rain. Tomorrow, it's going to linger, especially for eastern parts of the province. And then we're going to have a sunny Sunday on the island, at least. I'll break all of that down a little later on the show.
So here's what we've gathered from talking to local residents.
I spoke with a renter who's facing eviction this fall.
It is not for the weak of stomachs. What does it mean for you to be able to give that advice and to know that you've helped? Don't look down.
If this is something that you didn't know about, let me tell you.
Heather Gillis, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
St. John's.
Corner Brook.
Shaji, Innu First Nation.
Grand Falls, Windsor.
New West Valley, Newfoundland and Labrador.
After nearly a week, the evacuation order for Musgrave Harbour has been lifted.
The fire weather index has improved. We've had experts in the air and on the ground, and it is their considered opinion that amongst most important, it is safe for the residents of Musgrave Harbour to return to their community.
Despite that, the wildfire is still active and classified as out of control, so residents can expect to see helicopters, water bombers, and fire crews continuing to work in the area. As people return home, they're also advised not to drink the tap water at this time. There's also good news on the Chance Harbour fire today. It's being held. Government says thanks to favorable weather and the hard work of crews, the fire shouldn't spread anymore. A portion of the Resource Road to Chance Harbour will reopen tomorrow morning. When a St. John's woman was asked to check her carry-on suitcase on a stopover at Pearson International Airport in March, she didn't question it. But when it was lost and eventually returned to her by the airline, well, that's when the real trouble started. Elizabeth Whitten has that story.
When Air Canada lost and then returned Linda Royal's missing carry-on suitcase, she was happy. However, that quickly turned into anger and frustration when she opened it up.
It was shocking. Like, I flipped it open and I unzipped the saw and I'm there like, what, I couldn't believe it.
Hundreds of dollars of her own personal items were now missing from her bag, like shoes, books, and medication. Those items now replaced by things she doesn't own. She found 2 toiletry bags with things you'd expect, like a toothpaste, floss, razors, and over-the-counter medication, but also a retractable knife and a boarding pass for a flight dated April 2020. The most baffling thing was this: a device used by airports to scan boarding passes.
If you feel violated, because somebody literally picked through all of my personal belongings to see what they wanted. I have no idea where they found 2 moldy men's shaving kits and a microscope to put in there, which is bizarre.
Back in March, Royal was flying from Cancun to St. John's with a stopover at Toronto's Pearson International Airport, where Air Canada asked her to check her carry-on. But her suitcase didn't make it onto her plane. Missing for days, they were both eventually returned to her. Royal has her own theory about what happened.
Everybody makes mistakes. We're all human. But at the end of the day, their employee made a mistake. He tagged the bags only to Toronto, which left the bag alone, unattended for 5 days. So none of that is my fault.
Royal tried to get Air Canada to compensate her for her missing items. But in an email to Royal, the airline says she couldn't prove she owned the missing items and closed her case earlier this month. The company also didn't acknowledge the new items now in her bag. The representative wrote, "We sincerely regret the inconvenience you have experienced, but trust that you will understand Air Canada's position in such matters." Royal says that's not good enough.
You entrust your bags with them. And then, because you didn't carry receipts for sandals you bought in 2023 and 2024, they were tough because you can't prove that you own them.
CBC News requested an interview with Air Canada about this story. 2 days after we made that request, Royal was contacted by the airline, who said her case had been further reviewed and that they would compensate her after all. The airline then told CBC News its security team is reviewing the case. Elizabeth Whitten, CBC News, St. John's.
See your dealer for details.
We've been spoiled this summer with lots of great weekends, but this one at least doesn't look like it's starting great with a bunch of rain in the forecast.
No, Friday night tonight for some places is not going to be a very nice night to get outside and hang out with family or friends. But Sunday for the island might be an okay day, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. But first, I would like to start with today's highs right across the province, into the 20s for St. John's and through central Newfoundland, and into the teens for coastal areas of our province. Similar story up across Labrador, with Happy Valley Goose Bay being the hot spot at 25 today. Taking a look now at our satellite and radar, a little bit of a closer look. You can see some of that heavy rain that we're expected in this area where there's a rainfall warning already starting, and we're expected to get 40, maybe even 50 millimeters of rain in this particular area as this system kind of tracks in a diagonal across the island here tonight. Taking a closer look on that, you can see the track there on the future tracker tonight as we move through the early morning hours. Tonight we'll just see scattered showers across Labrador, and then as we go into tomorrow, we'll see some showers sticking around, but things will start to clear first on the west coast of the island. Some showers might linger in some spots. And then for Labrador, we will see some scattered showers again and some cloud as well across that part of our province before this system starts to move off later on Saturday and into Sunday. Taking a look now at our rainfall projections. So you can see that 30 to 50 here for the southwest coast. As we go further up the northern peninsula and into the west coast, we'll see less. So for the Stephenville area example, we could see 15 to 25 millimeters, but for Corner Brook, we could see a little less, and then we see about 5 to 10 for the, or 2 to 4 for the northern peninsula. And the same thing as we work our way east, we'll get less precipitation tonight, but it'll come your way tomorrow. So just hang on. Taking a look at the wind gusts so far today, I just want to talk about this briefly because we had one of 72 earlier today in St. John's, and Environment Canada is forecasting some gusts of up to 70 for the St. John's area tonight before they start to drop back. So if you are outside tonight, hold on to your hat so the wind certainly doesn't take it. Taking a closer look at our temperatures for tonight now in the mid-teens for much of the island, as cool as 10 though for St. Anthony, with that 40 to 50 millimeters for the southwest coast, 10 to 25 for the west, 2 to 4 for the northern peninsula, and we could see 20 to 30 through parts of central Newfoundland, 2 millimeters for Nain, and our temperatures 9 degrees for many places in Labrador, 13 and 14 through Happy Valley Goose Bay and the Straits. Taking a look at our future tracker for tomorrow now as the system starts to depart. Again, we'll see that clearing on the west coast first before it starts to bring rain eastward, where we could pick up some rain here on the east part of the island, about 5 millimeters for St. John's, 10 for Marystown, and as much as 10 to 20 for the Bonavista Peninsula. Temperatures anywhere between 22 and 19 degrees. Temperatures pretty well similar for the central part of the island, a little bit cooler on the north coast for Twillingate. We could see 10 to 15 millimeters for the south coast and 5 to 10 for central. As we move on to the west coast now, we'll see again those showers taper off, 2 millimeters for Burgeo. Things starting to clear off. You've got a chance of showers though persisting for the west coast, with your winds from the northwest. Temperatures between 19 and 24 degrees for this part of our province tomorrow. A little bit cooler for the northern peninsula through the Straits for the most part, where we still see a chance of showers for many places here. And then as we move on to the rest of Labrador, not a lot to talk about temperature-wise here, between 14 and 21 for this part of our province with a chance of showers, but you could see a little bit of sun for many parts. We're also going to break down your long-range forecast and what's in store for Sunday, which is a little bit of sun for the island after all that rain.
Excellent, something to look forward to. Well, what began as a pilot project will now be a permanent effort to make the roads safer. The provincial government announced today that new traffic cameras will start ticketing drivers who violate the speed limits. But as the CBC's Jenna Benchritrit has learned some people still have plenty of questions about the system.
2 years after a speed camera pilot project warned drivers for going too fast, the government announced today that 3 cameras will start ticketing those who violate speed limits. Government Modernization Minister Sarah Studley and Public Safety Minister John Haggie announced the rollout in a St. John's School parking lot on Friday.
But this is not about generating revenue. This is not about collecting fines. This is about slowing down to reduce accidents.
The province will spend $3.9 million to operate the cameras, an amount outlined in its 2025 budget. A private company will maintain them and issue the tickets. 3 cameras are currently up and running, 2 on Veterans Memorial Highway in either direction and another on Waterford Bridge Road.
Fewer accidents, more vigilance, and a shift in the province's driving culture. That's what officials are hoping these new speed cameras will achieve. But there are still plenty of questions about the system, like why vehicle owners and not drivers get the tickets.
I don't think the owner should get a ticket if he or she is not driving the car. I'm not sure how you can solve that.
I'd be worried about if someone else was driving my car, who would get the ticket and how accurate they are.
But not everyone wants a camera on their street.
Why not? Because sometimes I drive a little fast.
Officials say tickets will range from $50 to $1,900 depending on a person's driving history. And there are already plans to expand the project. A 4th camera will be set up on Larkle Street before the school year begins. And cameras will also be installed on school bus stop signs. Jenna Benchitrit, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, it seems wrestling runs in the family for one father and son in this province. Rory McPherson competed in the ring in 1987 at the Canada Games. And now, in just a couple of weeks, his son Luke McPherson will be putting the family's wrestling reputation to the test again.
Hi, my name is Luke McPherson. I'm 16 years old, and I'm a wrestler. I've been wrestling for almost 2 years now. This is my second official season. I was at the gym one day and somebody came up to me and told me about it. And I was like, well, I know my dad used to wrestle, so I just thought to myself, why not just try it? That's how it all started. I just came down and I've been in love with it ever since.
My name is Rory McPherson, former competitor in the Canada Games in the 1987 Canada Games, which was 38 years ago. Myself, my twin brother, and actually one of our cousins from my community, Giles Gillis, we all took part in those Canada Games as well.
It makes me feel good that me and my dad have something to bond over. We went through the same experience, you know. I get to experience something that he had a lot of fun doing.
To be able to go in the stands at the Canada Games, knowing what he's experiencing and what he's going to learn from this, like I told him, just getting there is such a huge accomplishment.
He's my role model in it. I like to, think he's an awesome person and a great guy, and I want to do the same things that he did. Before wrestling, I was never really an exceller at any sports of any kind. I always just played the lowest level. But once I found this, I kind of just fit right in, and it's such a crazy feeling that I went from playing, house league hockey and baseball to national level tournaments in just a short period of time. It's a blessing.
The personal transformation of Luke from when he started to now, and the confidence that has been built is absolutely phenomenal.
When Luke joined, he was a little plum. He ran 3 circles and then said, "That's it, I'm going home. It is so hard for me." It was really challenging for him.
When we first met that guy, he was the most unathletic guy that I met. He was so fat, he was so unathletic, but he's the one that improved the most between us.
I just love the grit and just the grind of it every day. There's no other sport like it. I train every single day, 2 times a day, and I wouldn't give it up for the world, so I love it.
We never have to ask where he is. I know he's at the gym. I know he's putting in the effort. Never once have I had to say, or his mother have to say, hey, it's time for wrestling. He organizes up and he goes. The amount that Luke has been able to accomplish in these short 2 years is mind-boggling.
It's a feeling that, you can't beat. The energy rushing through your body is just crazy. It's no one else did that but you. That's like the glory of it, because if you can perform under pressure, you can do anything.
It's going to be a life-changing experience for these kids, and I'm so proud that Luke is going to be there representing the province.
We're on, home ground. It's a great feeling, all the friends and family there watching and supporting me along the way. I can't wait to do it. It's going to be a blast.
Music fans are gearing up for a series of big shows in St. John's. The Churchill Park Music Festival starts tonight with headlining classic rockers Def Leppard. Festival organizer Peter Quinton says it's another great year for the festival.
I mean, people love it. I mean, you always get some people, you can't please everyone. Like, if you try to please everyone, you might as well give up. I mean, we do our best. You know, the chair thing was a big thing. We don't have a big site. We don't have a proper concert site in St. John's. So we're working with this site. The neighbors been great. We try to accommodate their needs. The city's been great. I mean, things are, reasonably good. There's always a few challenges, but people do love it. We've sold a lot of shows. I mean, in this little park, Churchill Park, they have all these big headliners: Shania, Lannis, Lumineers, Def Leppard, The Killers. I mean, Gwen Stefani, Blake Shelton. I mean, really, when we imagined it starting with Matchbox 20, we didn't know where it would go, but here we are now. So people seem to enjoy it. It's a lot of work, though.
One challenge that we hear a lot about from music festival organizers or concert organizers is getting people here to the island, because we're an island, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your experience been like with that?
Well, that's always the challenge, like trying to convince the band to come here. First of all, some of the U.S., particularly agents, think we live in the Arctic because we've got land attached to our name. I think they think we live in Iceland or Greenland. So you convince them of that we do have direct flights from Montreal and Toronto. The boat is always a challenge. Like Def Leppard ended up choosing to fly their gear in, so that was costly. They flew a cargo jet in. Blake's gear got across. We got his tour bus across yesterday. Killers are coming with 3. I've got a good friend of mine, Chris Hollett, who runs a lot of trucks across over there, and he helps make sure we get logistics done. But you never know with the wind on the Gulf. You lose a day, you lose a show. So it's a challenge.
What keeps you wanting to do those?
Every day when I get up, I wonder that. That's a good question. I don't know. I enjoy, of course, we're trying to, do well out of it as a business, but I enjoy it that, the creative side of it, managing to pull it off. I mean, how much longer we'll be at it, who knows? But it's once the band, like I said to an interview yesterday, once the band strikes the first chord, it seems all worth it at that point. People are here loving it. I think the Newfoundlanders and Labradorians deserve to have this entertainment. Without it, you're paying thousands of dollars to go to Toronto or New York or wherever, And so, the combination of us wanting to do it, also wanting to give a good experience for people.
What are you most excited for this week?
I'm excited for all the acts. I mean, they're so different, I'm really excited about tonight. I've seen the Killers a few times. We had them in another show we did in Halifax a couple of weeks ago. I've seen Blake twice. I haven't seen Gwen, which is going to be amazing, and all the opening artists too. And but I think tonight is going to be my bucket list. I haven't seen Def Leppard, so it's going to be great.
The Innu Nation has reached an agreement to let Hydro-Quebec start work at Gull Island. It comes after protests and concerns about some of the environmental and exploration work they want to do at the site. Prote Poker is an Innu Nation advisor, and he's in Quebec. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
So explain this agreement. Why were you able to agree to let Hydro-Quebec start some of their work?
According to them, they need this work done. It's a preliminary work to get the project online, to be on time. That's why we agreed to get them to agree with the startup. They're going to start on Monday, using helicopters to get to the site. There'll be minimal disruption to the gathering site. There won't be any trucks going through the site, so they'll just fly over to the site to where they're doing their study.
For folks who aren't familiar, why is this gathering site so important for the Innu?
Well, it's a gathering place for the Innu. They started the gathering place years ago, and they've been going there. It has grown, and a lot of young people there now know the area well, and they want to, and they have fun, and they have a history of it. They learned how to, visit each other in that setting, where in the community it's hard to visit at times in the communities. I think that's important to them, that they have the traditional gathering where they have the traditional stuff, storytelling, games, and stuff like that. That's why it's important.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Innu have reached an agreement with Quebec and Hydro-Quebec that's worth almost $90 million that basically addresses past concerns over the flooding of the Churchill River. But a lot of young people seem to have concerns. You know, we saw that with some of the protests. People worried about what this will mean for the land if they vote yes. What do these protests, do you think, say about some of the division that exists within the community about whether they should reach that agreement and vote yes when it comes to a vote this fall?
Well, I think it's a democratic process where they have the right to voice their opinions, and we welcome that. And I think also we need to tell the people of Sheshatshiu and Natwashish what's in the agreement, what it means to the Innu today, and what it will mean in the future for the youth. Like when we negotiated the agreement, we focus on the people of today and the past that has happened to them. And we also look at the future for the youth. And this agreement addresses the youth because the funds that will flow from this agreement, it's for the future. It's 50 years from now, it will flow. And after 50 years, there'll be another extension to that agreement. So it goes on for a long, long time, as long as the electricity is produced. So the young people will have a better future to access stuff like going to the country, getting education, stuff like that. That's why I think that's the basis we negotiated on.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about it today.
Okay, thank you very much.
details.
We got lots of people celebrating this weekend. Edna and Tom Tolk are celebrating their 65th anniversary. Happy 61st anniversary to Amy and Addie Hillier. Happy 60th anniversary to Elizabeth and James Preddy of Placentia. Happy 53rd wedding anniversary wishes going out to Frank and Rose Pierce of Musgrave Harbor. It's a 50th anniversary for Sylvia and Ivan Power of Corner Brook. Happy 60th anniversary to Doug and Barbara Power of Freshwater Placentia. Jack and Glennie Stuckless of Badger are celebrating their 64th anniversary. To Donald and Valerie Sams of Galance, a very happy 55th anniversary. Wishing Bessie and Albert Knoll of Carboneer a very happy 70th anniversary. That's a big one. They're going to be celebrating on Sunday. Joan and Pat Cheeseman will be celebrating their 56th anniversary. They're originally from 80town, but currently living in Mount Pearl. It's a 50th anniversary for Ivan and Sylvia Power of Corner Brook. Gerald and Barbara Fowler of Kelligrews are celebrating 55 years of marriage. Happy 67th anniversary to Tony and Annette Specker of Pinsbrook. Happy anniversary to Joe and Edna Walsh of Labrador City, celebrating 50 years. Wishing Gerald and Irene Hart from Fogo a happy 55th wedding anniversary. Norm and Ruby White of Summerside in the beautiful Bay of Islands are celebrating their 63rd anniversary. Happy 65th anniversary to Reverend Walter and Patricia Hammond of Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy 52nd anniversary going out to Rosalie and Carl Vincent of Wesleyville. Now to some birthdays. A very special birthday greeting going out to Shirley Barker on her 90th from her 7 children, 13 grandchildren, and 15 great-grandchildren. She lives in Grand Falls, Windsor. Next one is a big one. Happy 100th birthday to Dorothy Howlett from Gould's. Love from your 5 children, 14 grandchildren, 23 great-grandchildren, and, wait for it, 4 great-great-grandchildren. A happy 95th birthday going out to Felix Maloney of Somerville. Felix often says he has no enemies. He's outlived them all. Happy 97th birthday going to Lita Goodyear of Carmenville, now living in Brookfield. Happy 93rd birthday to Florence Ireland Bailey. She currently lives in Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy 90th birthday to Victor Wiseman, formerly from Clarenville, now living in Mount Pearl. Jean Hilliard from Bay Roberts is celebrating her 96th birthday. Congratulations. Celebrating her 90th birthday, it's Olive Stone of Bryant's Cove. Congratulations to Marina Langer, who will be celebrating her 90th this weekend. Happy birthday wishes going out to Absalom Tucker, who lives in Mount Pearl and is celebrating his 95th. Happy 91st birthday to Arthur Bath of Lassie. His family says he's the oldest resident and still very active. You can see the picture of him out fishing earlier this month with his granddaughter. Happy 92nd birthday going out to Pat Healy of Holyrood, celebrating this weekend. Happy 88th birthday to Ray White of Badger. Happy 92nd birthday to Helen Horwood of St. John's. Happy 90th birthday to Eleanor Stoyles of St. John's. A very happy birthday to you all. Well, the weather has been so nice this summer that we're at the point that even a bit of rain in the forecast, people are now like, oh, we need that.
We do need it, though. That's the thing with all the fires and, over the last couple of weeks, anytime I have been in the woods, I've noticed how dry the grass is and it's turning a brown color. So we really do need the rain.
So the glass is half full with water this weekend, so we can at least be a little bit grateful that, some places won't have to water the garden and everything will hopefully green up a bit.
Yes, we'll have an excess of water in some places, but we will see some showers moving across the province on Saturday and Sunday. Let's take a look at where. So Saturday evening, we see some clearing with this system departing, and you could see a scattered shower across Labrador, and it looks like you could see one on parts of the west coast and northern peninsula. And we'll have some more moving in on Sunday morning, where we could see a chance of showers for the Straits, Happy Valley, Goose Bay area, and for Lab West. We will have a nice day for the island, though, with temperatures in the mid to upper 20s with some sun and cloud. So the island, after the rain moves through on Saturday, Sunday, we'll have a nice day. So if you need to get outside, this is your day to do so. But we'll have some precipitation moving basically through this part of Labrador here. Nain, you get the best day of anyone with some sun and cloud in Labrador on Sunday at 11 degrees, though, as well. Moving on to Sunday evening, excuse me, we'll see that rain that was in the Straits and Labrador move on to the island. And this could basically bring some showers to the west coast, northern peninsula, and to parts of central as well. So we see a chance of showers persisting here in Lab West, and then some sun and cloud from Nain at 12 to Happy Valley, Goose Bay at 10 degrees warmer at 22. Cartwright, not looking like a bad day, but some shower activity in the Straits and for St. Anthony as well, coming on down through the west coast to the southwest coast there in through central, where on the island, for the most part, your temperatures will be in the 20s, except for the St. Anthony area there, but some sun and cloud for St. John's and for Marystown. Taking a look at our 5-day forecast now, we've got that rain moving through on Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the east, looking nice. Tuesday, Wednesday, we see some showers moving back through. Temperatures in the low 20s for the most part to the mid 20s. As we move on to central and western Newfoundland, Sunday is looking like your nice day for central. You could see showers or a chance of them for the rest of the next 5 days there. Again, temperatures in the 20s. Same thing for western Newfoundland. Very similar trend happening for you folks. Moving on now to eastern Labrador. Monday looking like your good day. Same with Wednesday with some cloud. And we've got a little bit of precipitation in the forecast for just about every day until Wednesday for western Labrador. So you don't get a great forecast, unfortunately. Taking a look now at our weather photo, which comes from Twillingate today. And it is an absolutely beautiful sunset. So relaxing, a relaxing reflection of the sun on the water, courtesy of Connie Boland. Thanks so much for that photo, Connie.
And we're seeing a lot of those sort of pinkish, hazy sunsets thanks to all that wildfire smoke.
Yeah, that's right. So we see that making everything feel a little bit orange.
It is really too bad that the rain has to come tonight, especially Corner Brook. Also, they've got a concert, Kim Mitchell, playing tonight. So with rain in the forecast, might be a little wet one for folks there.
Yeah.
But at least it'll keep things cool.
Yeah. Pack your poncho.
Exactly. And that's it for us tonight. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Good night.